Sea Rose by Hilda. Rose, harsh rose, marred and with stint of petals, meagre flower, thin, sparse of leaf, more precious than a wet rose single on a stem. You are caught in the drift, stunted with small leaf. You are flung on the sand. You are lifted in the crisp sand that drives in the wind. Can the spice rose drip such acrid fragrance, hardened in a leaf?
I, being born a woman and distressed by a woman. Yes. I, being born a woman and distressed by all the needs and notions of my kind, am urged by your propinquity to find your person fair and feel a certain zest to bear your body's weight upon my breast, and leave me once again possessed, undone. So subtly is the theme of life's design to clarify the pulse and cloud the mind, and leave me once again undone, possessed. Think of this not, however, the poor treason of my stout blood against my staggering brain. I will remember you with love or season. My scornful pity lets me make it plain. I find this frenzy insufficient reason for conversation when we meet again.
The Inquest by V.H. Davis. I took my oath I would inquire, without affection, hate, or wrath, into the depth of Ada wrath, right? So help me God, I took that oath. When I went out to see the corpse of almost babe that died so young, I judged it was 7 pounds in weight and a little more than 1 foot long. One eye that had a yellow lid was shut, and so was the mouth that seemed to smile. For the left eye open, shining bright, it seemed a knowing little child. For as I looked in that one eye, it seemed to smile and say with glee, "What caused my death, you'll never know. Perhaps my mother murdered me." When I went into the court again to hear the mother's evidence, it was a love child, she explained, and smiled for our intelligence. "Now, the gentlemen of the jury," said the coroner, "this woman's child by misadventure has met its death." "Aye, aye," said we. The mother smiled, and I could see that child's one eye that seemed to smile and say with glee, "What caused my death, you'll never know. Perhaps my mother murdered me."
Tell me not here, it needs not saying, by A. Houseman. Tell me not here, it needs not saying, what tune the Enchantress plays in aftermaths of soft September or under blanching days, for she and I were long acquainted, and I knew all her ways. On russet floors by waters idle, the pine lets falls at cone, the cuckoo shouts all day at nothing, in leafy dells alone, and travellers' joy beguiles in autumn hearts that have lost their own. On acres of the seeded grasses, the changing burnish heaves, or marshalled under moons of harvest, stand still all night the sheaves, or beeches strip in storms for winter, and stain the wind with leaves. Possess as I possessed a season, the chances I resign. The countries I resign, where over elmy plains the highway will mount the hills and shine, and full of shade the pillared forests would murmur and be mine. For nature, heartless, witless nature, will neither care nor know. What strangers' feet may find the meadow, and trespass there and go, nor ask amid the dews of morning if they are mine or no.
Sadly Chosen Lover by Rosemary Tonks. Criminal, you took a great piece of my life and you took it under false pretenses. That piece of time in the clear muscles of my brain, I have the lens and jug of it. Books, thoughts, meals, days and houses, half Europe spent like a coarse banknote. You took it, leaving mud and cabbage stumps. And criminal, I damn you for it. Very softly. My spirit broke her fast on you, and Turk, you fed her with the breath of your neck. In my brain's clear retina, I have the stolen love behaviour. Your heart, greedy and tepid, brothel meat gulped it like a flunky with erotica. And very softly, criminal, I damn you for it.
This is Love from a Foreign City by Lavinia Greenlaw. Dearest, the cockroaches are having babies. One fell from the ceiling into my gym, with no ill effects. Mother has been. I showed her the bite marks on the cot, and she gave me the name of a rat catcher. He was so impressed with the hole in her U-bend, he took it home for his personal museum. I cannot sleep. They're digging up children on Hackney marshes. The papers say, when that girl tried to scream for help, the man cut her tongue out. Not far from here. There have been more firebombs, but only at dawn and out in the suburbs. And a mortar attack. We heard it from the flat. A thud, like someone dropping a table. They say the pond life coming out of the taps is completely harmless. A law has been passed on dangerous dogs, muzzles, tattoos, castration. When a Labrador over the road jumped up to say hello to Billy, he wet himself. The shops on North End road walls are all closing. You can't get your shoes mended anywhere. The one-way system keeps changing direction. I get lost 100 yards from home. There are parts of the new A to Z marked simply under development. Even the street names have been demolished. There is typhoid in Finchley. Mother has bought me a lavender tree. Thank you.
Joseph the Baker finds herself by Patience and Gabby. She picked me up like a slow burning fuse. I was down that girls' club we used to run in Brixton on Nasib Field. Lipstick lesbians. Techno so hardcore, spewing out Audis. She samples my heartbeat, mixes it with vodka and rocks. She's crossing a starboard. Oh wait. Okay. I'm her light skin negative, 20-something, short, black, wavy, Bob diva. She's crossing a starboard like it's a catwalk, so sleek, and she purrs like a song. Fancy a drink. I say, yeah. A string of pearls, a flapper dress, started with low-cut diamonds through my skin straight to my heart. 20s chick. She works me up and down. I worship the way she looks. The way she looks me up and down. I worship 20s chick. She samples my heart. She works through my skin straight to my heart. Started with low-cut diamonds through my skin. Started with low-cut diamonds, a string of pearls, a flapper dress. Yes. She's crossing a starboard like it's a cat. So sleek. And she purrs like a song. Fancy a drink. I say, 20-something, short, black, wavy, Bob diva. Vodka on the rocks. I'm her light skin.
Negative.
I'm her light skin negative. She's mixing my heartbeat with techno so hardcore, spewing out Audis on acid fuel, lipstick lesbians. That girls' club used to run in Brixton like a slow burning fuse. I was down and she picked me up.
It's Work by Benjamin Zephaniah. I could have been a builder, a painter, or a swimmer. I dreamt of being a rasta writer. I fancied me a farmer. I could never be a barber. Once I was not sure about the future. I got a sentence and I done it. Me angry.
Still.
still me angry feelings groweth. Now I'm just a different fighter. I sight the struggle up more clearly. I get younger yearly, and me black heart don't get no lighter. I will not join the army, I would work with malt and barley, but here I am checking me roots. I could work the Ital kitchen, but I won't cook dead chicken. And I won't lick nobody's boots. Yes, I could be a beggar, maybe not a tax collector. I could be a streetwise snob, but I'll just keep reciting the poems that I'm writing. One day I'll have a proper job.
I'm going to be reciting Blockhead by Amy Lowell. Before me lies a mass of shapeless days, unseparated atoms, and I must sort them apart and live them. The sifted dust covers the formless heap. Reprieves, delays, there are none, ever. As a monk who prays, the sliding beads asunder, so I thrust each tasteless particle aside and just begin again the task which never stays. And I have known a glory of great suns, when days flashed by pulsing with joy and fire, drunk bubbled wine filled in goblets of desire, and felt the whip blood laughing as it runs. Spilt is that liquor my two hasty hands threw down the cup and did not understand. Thank you.
God, a poem by James Spencer. A nasty surprise in your sandwich, a drawing pin caught in your sock, the limpest of shakes from a hand which you thought would be as firm as a rock, a serious mistake in a nightie, a grey disappointment all round, is all that you get from the Almighty, is all that you get underground. Oh, he said, if you lay off the crumpet, I'll see you all right at the end. Just hang on until the last trumpet. Have faith in me, chum, I'm your friend. But if you remind him, he'll tell you, I'm sorry, I must have been pissed. Though your name rings a sort of bell, you should have guessed that I do not exist. I didn't exist at creation. I didn't exist at the flood. And I won't be around for salvation to sort out the sheep from the cud. Or whatever the phrase is, the fact is, in soteriological terms, I'm a crude existential malpractice, and you are a diet of worms. You're a nasty surprise in a sandwich. You're a drawing pin caught in my sock. You're the limpest of shakes from a hand which I thought would be as firm as a rock. You're a serious mistake in a nightie. You're a grave disappointment all round. That's all you are, says the Almighty, and that's all you'll be underground.
It's work by Benjamin Zephaniah. I could have been a builder, a painter, or a swimmer. I dreamt of being a Rasta writer. I fancied me a farmer. I could never be a barber. Once I was not sure about the future. Got a sentence and I done it. Still my angry feelings grow up. Now, I'm just a different fighter. I sight the struggle more clearly. I get young yearly. I'm a black heart, don't get no lighter. I would not join the army. I would work with malt and barley. But here I am checking my roots. I could have worked the outed kitchen, but I won't cook dead chicken. And I won't lick nobody's boots. Yes, I could have been a beggar. Maybe not a tax collector. But for now, I'll just keep reciting these poems that I'm writing till maybe one day I'll have a proper job.
A Life in Dreams by Jacob Samlarosa. There have been teeth falling loose from their sockets like a shower of petals or bones. There has been treacle, Attempts to run against the gravity wound so tight that single steps were futile. A travelling nowhere, a running on the spot, a fanged leer and a gnarled hand inching ever closer. There have been glorious revolutions in unnamed countries, wars against tyrants, troops like legions of swarming beetles. There have been blades flashing at the sun. Once or twice a fluency in kung fu. Up has mostly been up, though has been convincingly turned on its head. There have been more than a few kisses. School classrooms and corridors, a hiding place in a primary attic. There have been drives down unfamiliar streets. The front of a car crumpled like a denim pulled fresh from the wash, once a mobile home. There has been silence. There have been clothes forgotten and remembered too late. The power of sound cleft from the mouth, the jaw gummed with quiet, the throat emptied of ammunition. There has been love. There have been messages passed back and forth between hemispheres, metaphors like acres of fortune cookies. All this behind shuttered and fluttering eyes, and I'd wager some of the best, where everything moved like snowfall, and time itself was as delicate as a snowflake melting on the tongue.
Strange House by Ivor Gurney? Yep. There are strange hells within the minds that war made. Not so often, not so humiliating afraid as one would have expected, the fear and racket guns made. One held of Gloucester soldiers, they quite put out their first bombardment. When in combined black shouts of fury, guns aligned, they ducked low their heads and sang with diaphragms fixed beyond all dreads. That tin and stretch wire tinkle, that blither of tune, après le coeur fini till all hell had come down, 12-inch, 6-inch and 18-pounders hammering hell's thunder. And where are they now? On state dole, or showing shop patterns, or walking town to town, sore in borrowed tatters, or begged? Some civic routine one never learns. The heart burns, but must keep out of the face how heart burns.
This poem is called Lights Out by Edward Thomas. I have come to the borders of sleep, the unfathomable deep forest where all must lose their way, however straight or winding, soon or late, they cannot choose. Many a road and track that since the dawn's first crack up to the forest brink deceived the travellers, suddenly now blurs, and in they sink. Here love ends, despair, ambition ends, all pleasure and all trouble, though most sweet or bitter, here ends in sleep that is sweeter than tasks most noble. There is not any book or face of the dearest look that would not turn me from now to go into the unknown. I must enter and leave alone. I know not how. The tall forest towers, its cloudy foliage lowers ahead, shelf above shelf. Its silence I hear and obey, that I may lose my way and myself.
The Show by Wilfred Owen. My soul looked down from a vague height with death, as unremembering how I rose or why, and saw a sad land, weak with sweats of dearth, grey, cratered like the moon with hollow woe, and pitted with great pox and scabs of plagues. Across its beard, that horror of harsh wire, there moved thin caterpillars slowly uncoiled. It seemed they pushed themselves to be as plugs of ditches, where they writhed and shrivelled, killed. By them had slimy paths been trailed and scraped round myriad warts that might be little hills. From gloom's last dregs these long-strewn creatures crept, and vanished out of dawn down hidden holes, and smell came up from these foul openings, as out of mouths or deep wounds deepening. On dithering feet upgathering more and more, brown strings towards strings of grey, with bristling spines, all migrants from green fields, intent on mire. Those that were grey of more abundant spawn ramped on the rest, and ate them, and were eaten. I saw their bitten backs curve, loop, and straighten. I watched those agonies curl, lift, and flatten. Whereat in terror of what that sight might mean, I reeled and shivered earthward like a feather. And death fell with me, like a deepening moan. And he, in a manner of worm which half had hid, that bruised in the earth, but crawled no further, showed me its feet, the feet of many men, and the fresh severed head of it, my head.
Song of the Mud by Mary Borden. This is the song of the mud, the pale yellow glistening mud that covers the hills like satin, the grey gleaming silvery mud that is spread like enamel over the valleys, the thick elastic mud that is kneaded and pounded and squeezed under the hoofs of the horses, the invincible, inexhaustible mud of the war zone. This is the song of the mud, the uniform of the poilu. His coat is of mud, his great, dragging, flapping coat that is too big for him and too heavy. His coat that once was blue and now is grey and stiff with the mud that cakes to it. This is the mud that clothes him. His trousers and boots are of mud, and his skin is of mud, and there is mud in his beard. His head is crowned with a helmet of mud. He wears it well. He wears it as a king wears the ermine that bores him. He has set a new style in clothing. He has introduced a chic of mud. This is the song of the mud that wriggles its way into battle. The impertinent, the intrusive, the ubiquitous, the unwelcome, the slimy invertebrate nuisance that fills the trenches, that mixes in with the food of the soldiers, that spoils the working of motors and crawls into their secret parts, that spreads itself over the guns, that sucks the guns down and holds them fast in its slimy, voluminous lips, that has no respect for destruction and muzzles the bursting shells. And slowly, softly, easily soaks up the fire, the noise, soaks up the energy and the courage, soaks up the power of armies, soaks up the battle, just soaks it up and thus stops it. This is the hymn of mud, the obscene, the filthy, the putrid, the vast liquid grave of our armies. It has drowned our men. Its monstrous distended belly reeks with the undigested dead. Our men have gone into it, sinking slowly and struggling and slowly disappearing. Our fine men, our brave, strong, young men, our glowing red, shouting, brawny men, slowly, inch by inch, they have gone down into it. Into its darkness, its thickness, its silence. Slowly, irresistibly, it drew them down, sucked them down, and they were drowned in thick, bitter, heaving mud. Now it hides them. Oh, so many of them. Under its smooth, glistening surface, it is hiding them blandly. There is not a trace of them. There is no mark where they went down. The mute, enormous mouth of the mud has closed over them. This is the song of the mud, the beautiful, glistening, golden mud that covers the hills like satin, the mysterious, gleaming, grey mud that is spread like enamel over the valleys, mud, the disguise of the war zone, Mud, the mantle of battles, mud, the smooth, fluid grave of our soldiers. This is the song of the mud.
Cinder by Romford Owen. Down the closed, darkening lanes, they sang their way to the siding shed and lined the trains with face grimly gay. Their breasts were stuck, all white were wreathed and sprayed, as men's are dead. Dull porters watched. A casual tramp stood staring hard, sorry to miss them from the upland camp. Then, unmoved, signals nodded and a lamp winked to the guard. So secretly, like wrongs hushed up, they went. They were not ours. We had not known from which front they were sent, nor there if they yet mocked what women meant, who gave them flowers. Shall they return to the beating of great bells in wild train loads? A few, too few. A few, too few. For drums and yells.
They creep back. Take a breath. They creep back.
They creep back, silent, to the upland village. Sorry, yeah.